The scene shifts to a quiet room where our boy, Kang, sits alone. There are still 15 minutes before the subspace duel begins, and he recalls media's warning to be cautious and take care of himself. Even though subspace doesn't affect reality and no physical damage carries over, the mental toll is real. As he listens to the noise from the waiting room, Kang finds it ironic. He had been trying to lay low, yet here he was, about to fight a duel. Meanwhile, next to him, Chloe is bawling her eyes out. Kang looks at her and thinks she must be blaming herself for this. He reassures her, telling her not to worry. After all, she lent him her weapon, so everything will be fine. But Chloe, still anxious, warns Kang that her brother is strong. Our boy simply responds that he is strong as well. However, Chloe explains that Knox isn't just strong, he's a genius, possessing unparalleled talent in the history of the Auditor family. He is also a master of the dark arts. Hearing this, Kang internally cringes, wondering who comes up with such chunibyo names. Still, Kang knows there are always consequences to his actions, and somehow they always lead him to wielding a sashimi knife. Just then, an announcement calls for the duelists to enter the training arena. Kang waves Chloe goodbye, but she still feels guilty. Seeing this, he tells her, "There are many geniuses in this world, but in the end, I'll be the one to win this duel." As Kang steps into the arena, the students erupt into loud cheers, impressed that he actually showed up instead of ditching the duel. Our boy can't help but think this feels like a Roman gladiator match. Then, he spots the main cast of the game, including Abel and Leon, watching from the audience. He wonders if they don't have anything better to do because this is about to get awkward. Meanwhile, Knox is pissed that Kang is ignoring him. His irritation only grows when he sees the weapon Kang brought to the fight. He scoffs, demanding to know how Kang dares to challenge him with such a pitiful weapon. But our boy simply smirks and says, "A true master never blames his equipment." This pisses Knox off even more, and he immediately unleashes his aura. Kang takes note. Knox is wielding not one, but two S-rank weapons. On top of that, he's using one of the best blessings in the game, the Blessing of the Crow. Now, for the first time, our boy feels Knox's true killing intent. Kang acknowledges that while Knox has S-rank equipment, he is also prepared for this. The duel begins. Kang and Knox charge at each other with full force. Kang manifests the Painlessness blessing, and the Sword God's blessing activates. Outside the subspace, the students watching the match are stunned. They can't even see Knox and Kang's movements. The two are striking at each other at incredible speed, neither of them slowing down. Meanwhile, in the audience, Rachel comments to Abel that things are getting interesting. Abel, who had originally thought Kang was weak, is now surprised to see him fighting against an S-rank opponent. Back in the duel, Knox finds an opening and uses his special technique to land a decisive strike. However, Kang dodges at the last second, leaving behind an afterimage. Knox is stunned. He never expected Kang to dodge that attack. The other students whisper in disbelief, realizing just how strong both fighters are, but Knox loses it. He's enraged that even after using the Blessing of the Crow, Kang dodged his attack like it was nothing. His frustration fuels him, and he decides to use even more powerful strikes to cover a wider area. But then, Kang drops one of his sashimi knives. Knox, confused, demands, "What the hell are you doing?" Our boy takes a stance, pointing the rose blade toward Knox. Seeing this, Knox's anger boils over. He thinks Kang is mocking him. A commoner like him dares to look down on him. Enraged, he begins gathering his aura, preparing to unleash his most powerful attack. He starts monologuing about how Kang will regret this, but before he can even finish his sentence, Kang moves. With God's speed, our boy flashes forward and blinds Knox. In that moment, Kang realizes something. No matter how much he tries to resist, the Sword God's blessing is always there, controlling him. This power is like a curse, one he cannot escape. So, if running from it isn't an option, then he'll embrace it. The The audience is dead silent. Even Leon, one of the main characters, is stunned by our boy's power. As the duel reaches its conclusion, Kang finally makes a decision. Curse or blessing, it doesn't matter anymore. He will use whatever power he has, and with that, he says goodbye to his peaceful life. The whole arena is filled with smoke as the subspace barrier has been turned off, and the students in the audience are shocked by what they have just witnessed. In the arena, Knox is defeated on his knees. Abel and Rachel can't believe what they have just seen. The announcer then declares that the duel has come to an end, and the students begin talking among themselves about the match. Kang wonders if he should have expected such a reaction, but realizes there's no turning back now. After all, our boy achieved this with just a kitchen knife, one that's used for gutting fish. But when it was a person, he starts to feel uneasy, but he feels relived that both the Mao brothers and Knox were defeated in subspace. Meanwhile, Knox, who is traumatized on the ground, remains motionless, and Kang thinks he was as strong as Chloe had described, and the announcer declares the winner Kang from Tiger Class. The duel ended in just 26 seconds. The students are stunned to see that a special admission student defeated an S rank so easily. Kang, realizing there is nothing he can do about this, decides to walk this path with no hesitation. The scene shifts to the next day inside the academy, where everyone is talking about Kang and how strong he was in the duel. Meanwhile, Abel sits alone, lost in thought, thinking about yesterday's duel. She couldn't believe what she had witnessed. Kang displayed remarkable swordsmanship, using only 2 kitchen knives. Abel had always taken pride in her knowledge of swords, being the daughter of a sword master, but now she finds herself feeling hopelessly naive. She never imagined someone could be that skilled with such ordinary blades. Abel then remembers her first encounter with Kang. She realizes that the top student her grandfather mentioned is Kang, and she gets mad, not only because he is stronger than her, but also because he hid the fact that he was the top student. She gets pissed about it and slams her hands on the table. Hearing the noise, Rachel wakes up and asks Abel what's going on. Abel quickly calms down and apologizes, saying it's nothing, but Rachel still asks if something is bothering her. Abel explains that she hasn't been able to train recently, so she's feeling a bit sluggish, but Rachel presses further, pointing out that something seems off about Abel's expression. Abel pretends not to understand, but Rachel keeps asking questions. Is she hungry? Abel denies it. Did she leave her equipment at home? Does she need to go to the bathroom? Abel says it's nothing. Then Rachel asks if she's having boy trouble. Hearing that, Abel blushes, and Rachel is shocked to see her reaction. Rachel laughs, saying she didn't think Abel would be interested in romance. Abel, still blushing, insists that's not the case. Rachel then asks about the lucky man Abel seems to be thinking about. She asks if it's Leon, but Abel stares at her with a blank face. Rachel finds it odd that Abel is still apprehensive about Leon. Then Rachel asks if it could be that special student from yesterday. Abel's expression quickly changes, and seeing this, Rachel thinks she hit the jackpot. She grabs Abel's hand and says, "Let's go." Abel asks where they are headed, and Rachel replies, "To the Tiger Class, of course." The scene shifts to the Tiger Class, where Rachel confidently enters, leaving all the Tiger Class students shocked. And this guy is literally drooling. What the hell, man? Get a life. As they walk forward, Abel tells Rachel they should go back, but Rachel tells her not to worry. At that moment, Rachel climbs onto a desk and makes a Superman pose. She starts looking for our boy. Then, a Tiger Class student approaches and warns Rachel that regardless of her status, she shouldn't be standing on the desk. That's going too far. But Rachel hits him with that charm attack, and that dude folds and calls her beautiful. Meanwhile, Abel thinks, what the hell is she doing? Then she finally spots our boy sitting with Chloe. Seeing Chloe, Rachel briefly wonders if she's our boy's girlfriend and thinks this is going to be fun. Chloe, who is simping for our boy, suddenly has her expression change when Rachel approaches Kang and gives a good blowjob in his ear. Seeing that both Chloe and Abel are stunned, Rachel confidently sits on top of Kang's desk, and our boy wakes up. And his eyes are blessed by the view in front of him. God bless his eyes. Rachel calls Kang's name and admits that she didn't know him before the subspace battle. In his mind, our boy is surprised to see Rachel and wonders what she's doing here. Then Rachel reaches out to touch Kang, trying to flirt with him, but before she can, Chloe stops her and goes full Yandere mode. Chloe glares at Rachel and demands to know what the hell she's doing. As Chloe and Rachel face each other, Kang is shocked, realizing that that this must be the danger his instincts had been warning him about. Chloe's personality has completely flipped, and as she pulls out a box cutter, she is becoming even more Yandere. Kang thinks that if a fight breaks out, it will be the worst possible scenario. Then Abel steps in, trying to stop Rachel and asking her what she's trying to do, reminding her that this isn't their classroom. But Rachel smirks and asks, "What's the matter, Abel? Can I say hello?" She then walks over to Chloe, pats her on the head and says, "You shouldn't interrupt when the adults are talking, and it's not safe to play with sharp objects either," and Chloe loses it. She swings the box cutter at Rachel, but Rachel effortlessly stops the attack by grabbing Chloe's wrist. "You're slow," Rachel says. "I thought you were just a kid, but it seems you've got quite a short fuse." Abel steps forward, telling Rachel to cut it out, but Rachel doesn't listen and yeets Chloe away in the air. Chloe manages to regain her balance and land perfectly on her feet. The students in the class made a face like they just witnessed a goal. Meanwhile, our boy just wants to leave. We get more details on Rachel. She's a high-class student and the niece of a spear saint. She lives by her clan's motto, "Skills are useless in the face of overwhelming strength." Rachel then turns to Kang and asks if Chloe is his girlfriend. Our boy quickly replies no, and Chloe gives him that death stare. Kang clarifies that Chloe is just his friend, but in his mind, he wonders what the hell this situation even is. As he looks around, he notices that Abel is there too. Kang then asks Rachel why she and Abel came looking for him. Rachel grins and says, "It seems like Abel was interested in you and wanted to see your face." Abel immediately gets flustered and protests, "When did I ever say that?" Rachel smirks and says, "Isn't that why we came here?" Abel quickly corrects her, "You're the one who practically dragged me here." Rachel shrugs, "I thought you wanted to see Kang. That's why you followed me." Abel can't counter that and mutters, "It was a misunderstanding. I didn't ask to come here to see him." Hearing this, our boy thinks to himself that Abel should just leave. He then flatly states, "If you don't have anything else to do, then you should leave." Rachel and Abel are stunned by our boy's cold response. Rachel clings to his arm and says, "You're really an interesting guy, and I like guys like you." Our boy replies, "That's a relief to hear, but I'm far from interesting." Rachel then casually invites our boy to her dorm for some Netflix and chill, and Chloe screams, "Get away from my Kang." Hearing that, Rachel starts laughing and mocks Chloe. But before things escalate further, Abel unleashes her aura. Seeing Abel's anger, Rachel smirks and turns to Kang. "It was fun meeting you. I'll see you later." But our boy straight up says, "Don't come back." As Abel and Rachel leave, Rachel says her goodbye to Kang, and our boy finally thinks it's over. He hits the bench and immediately goes to sleep. As Rachel leaves, Abel can't help but glance back at Kang before exiting the scene. Then, the scene shifts to the corridor outside, where Rachel thinks to herself. At first, she only went to the tiger class to tease, but after seeing Kang face to face, she realized there was something different about him. His gaze was so sharp that she felt like her throat had been cut. A chill ran down her spine, just thinking about it. She now understood that Kang was definitely a step above all the students she had seen at the academy. Initially, she had no real interest in him, but now she believed she might have gained something unexpected. Her clan pulled no stops when finding outstanding warriors as marriage partners. She thinks to herself, our boy is a precious resource. It's only natural that he's caught Abel's eye as well. Rachel then turns to Abel and casually apologizes. Abel sighs and says, "You should apologize to the tiger class students for causing that ruckus, not me." But Rachel says, "It's not about that. It's about Kang. I'm not going to yield. I think Kang should prepare for child support." The scene shifts to Knox, who is in the hospital, cursing Kang. His rage is boiling over and he decides he's going to assassinate him tonight. As he storms through the hallway, he even shoves a poor patient out of the way. Knox plans to mobilize his entire clan against Kang. Once he deals with him, he'll get Chloe back. This is the perfect time to strike. He is determined to show Kang exactly what he is made of. But as he opens the door to his hospital room, he sees our boy already sitting there, casually eating an apple. Kang glances up and says, "You're finally here," and Knox shits his pants seeing him.